2017, Joe met her at Ohio State. He said, you got to be somebody's baby. Oh, you must be somebody's baby. But then Olivia, who's macho, broke his heart and he shaved his head. Now she's not Joe Burrow's baby, but she might be somebody's baby. Still just got to be somebody's baby, cause he's so fine. Poor Burrow's just playing Xbox tonight, and that just ain't right. Yeah, we got to find Joe a lady, alright. I heard him talking with Jamar when he thought nobody else was around.
17, wide open, touchdown.
He said he's got to be somebody's baby. Oh, he must be somebody's baby. Cause when he's at his mansion late at night and the lights go down, ooh, he's got to be
Welcome to the
somebody's
Number One
baby.
Bengals podcast. I'm your host, Dadio McDuke. I'm joined as always by John Brain Sheeran and Dr. Hodgie Dr. Gismoji on the vocals there, telling us the sad story of Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
And we have...
Really, that was
Yeah.
what I did is I put my psychological evaluation of Joe Burrow to the tune of Somebody's Baby,
Yeah,
Jackson Brown.
right. And look, we have easily the greatest and biggest guest we've ever had on the show. The guy who launched our whole career with Believe. I'm talking about Mr. Barber Chair Scott.
Yeah.
What's going
Scott,
on,
how you
guys?
doing?
Hello.
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be back on. How y'all feeling?
Well, I'll tell you this. Scott hosts a show called I'm Not Gon Hol You. And I know this is against your policy, Scott, but I could use a hug right now after watching that Bears game because we got blown out by your Bears.
Feeling
in large
despondent,
part.
needing a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because,
it was.
yeah.
Nah, I mean, it was. Well, I had a good time watching it, but obviously I'm on the other side. But it was. Hey, man, I'm just excited. I'm excited about this team. I'm excited about Caleb.
Just
kinda
so the
feels like
audience
he got a
understands,
quarterback.
just so they understand, when you say excited about this team, because maybe they don't know, you mean
not
the
talking about
Bears.
Yeah,
you mean
the
not the
Bears.
Yeah,
not the
Chicago
Bengals.
Bears.
He's
Because
a Bears
No.
reporter.
yeah, usually on this show, when we say excited about this team, we mean the
mean the
Bengals. But
Bengals.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite of excited about this team. After watching that game and looking at the lack of depth that the Bengals have,
Right.
I mean, if you know, if that's what we have to work with, and I'm talking about at the quarterback backup position, I'm talking about on the defense, stopping the run game. I mean, how are you going to go up against Lamar Jackson? Who's the new guy they got? Derek Henry or Harry?
Yeah.
How are you going to stop the Ravens when you can't stop? No offense, Scott, but the Browns. I mean the Bears. How are you going to stop?
And also, especially they didn't have DeAndre Swift playing. They was
Yeah.
going against Khalil Herbert.
And we all know
And,
who that is, by the way. DeAndre Swift.
Yeah.
But I'll just say, here's the thing. I just want to say this, Scott. Look, I'm watching the game, and Caleb Williams, he starts slow,
Yeah.
but then I think it was the second quarter where he made those dazzling plays, and we can share them here. There was
Let's-
obviously, there was the brilliant pass here.
He's looking downfield, nothing there. Spins away, throws on the move. It is caught! Roma Dunze.
Roma Dunze, beautiful pass, and then he runs it in for the score with the run.
Look, he's looking the front side, steps up, feels it, like I said, bails out right here. Watch him. Because those are two backside guys. He's like, yeah, who cares? Now he turns the corner.
Beautiful plays. Now, a lot of people say, look, this guy is playing against the second, third stringers for the Bengals.
No.
Look, this guy, bad completion percentage in college, so forth, whatever. I see something different. Because
Tell us what
I
you
remember Josh Allen had a bad completion percentage. I remember but some guys show such a high ceiling in terms of talent with the types of plays that they can make at the NFL level that that with proper coaching and with time, they would be among the elite quarterbacks. What do you think, Scott?
Scott,
Yeah, I'm with you on that. What we saw on Hard Knocks yesterday was Caleb's microphone, like not his microphone, like the microphone, the speaker was out of his helmet, so I had the trouble getting the plays from the offensive coordinator to him in like the first quarter or something like that. That might have something to do with it, but the reason why I'm not too much caring about the completion percentage was one, I saw him do this against the Bengals number one defense in the joint practice. So that's why I kind of like, when people, I know a lot of people didn't get to see the joint practice. It was originally supposed to be for fans. It was supposed to be the last fan practice of camp, but it was like a monsoon almost on last Thursday. And I thought they were going to move the practice into the Bears indoor facility, which is the Walter Payton Center. But the Bears and the Bengals both wanted to play outside. They didn't want to play on the turf. So we was out there in the media soaked watching this. But he was doing well against the first team. Like he threw like 3 touchdowns on the first team, one to Roma Dunze, one to DJ Moore, one to Keenan Allen. And the defense did a pretty good job on Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow had like I think like a touchdown or 2, but he threw 3 picks and should have threw 5. Like Jalen Johnson dropped 1, Tremaine Edmonds dropped 1. So that's why I wasn't like really too much concerned about the completion percentage in the game on Saturday, because I was like, I saw him do it against the ones. But I think Caleb, I think what a lot of people, I think the Bears fans in general right now, they're kind of in a weird spot. I did like a tailgate segment for I'm Not Gonna Hold You that's gonna air on our Bears preview schedule, and I was walking around the tailgate before the game, and a lot of Bears fans are kind of scared to get excited, like
yes, because you guys are like we are.
We were 5 years ago. Yeah.
Well,
right,
I mean,
exactly.
the Bears. It's like the Bears and the Bengals were 2 teams that were good in the '80s, and they kind of haven't been great since. I mean, Bengals have had some moments, but let's face it,
Bears had some moments, Super Bowl in 06, NFC Championship game 2010. Yeah. Of course, everybody outside of Chicago laughs at the double joint. I still get nightmares about that. But so yeah, it's kind of like the same. But to me, I'm somebody just like, look, in my fandom of the Bears, I've been a Bears fan since 2000. I'm guessing 2000. Yeah. I don't even remember exactly when I started watching. It's been at least 25 years. Yeah. But it can't get much worse than where it's at. So like to me, it's just only way is up. So that's why I'm not as really worried as a lot of Bears fans. But you got to trust your eyes. I know some people like, oh, we got excited about Justin Fields. That was a difference. Like Justin, I feel like you hoped that he would reach the potential. We've seen Caleb do this since he came off the bench in the Red River game. So I love what I've seen in a couple preseason games. He's not going to play tomorrow against Kansas City. Next time he'll play will be week 1, and I'm excited. I think the kid's got a lot of potential.
Scott, let me just follow up with a point of clarification for our listeners, for us on the show, because what you're saying is a bit unbelievable. You're saying that when you were watching the joint practice,
hold
on. I'm still talking. Caleb looked better than Joe Burrow.
Caleb
looked better than Joe.
I was actually surprised. It was two practice. It was so the Bears got 2 practice fields. So it was 2 practices going on in one. So it was like Joe Burrow was going against a mix of the Bears 1 and 2s on defense. Caleb was going up against a mix of the Bengals 1 and 2s on defense. So it's like we were trying to pay attention to both. But I always knew when it would be a big play by the defense, because the Bears defense is very loud. They like to talk. So, and we saw a little bit of that on Hard Knocks as well. So that's why I'm like, like no panic for Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is one of my favorite quarterbacks. I think he'll be fine. I think that, but it was just good to see that from Caleb, because this defense that the Bears got, and a lot of people are going to see this year, is damn good. And if there's anything, it's been like iron sharpens iron. I've been at basically every camp practice the last month, basically, and he's gotten so much better, even from OTAs. I was at OTAs. He was having problems with the language and like the offense in OTAs rookie minicamp. And even Flus and Shane Waldron were like, nah, he's got to get better on that. Man, now, and here's the thing too, and I'll finish it up with this. Players never lie. I have heard it went from before Caleb got drafted, you had Jalen Johnson and DJ Moore, very pro Justin Fields. They were Jalen, I think Jalen told K. Adams, we're not going with that Hollywood shit. And then he comes like, oh, I didn't know Caleb. He's a great guy. And you know how it went from DJ. We asked DJ last week, what's your faith in this offense? You have a good year. He said, we got Caleb Williams. Like, the players love him. They've been around the Montez.
He didn't give a real answer.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not going to answer that. Yeah.
Yeah, Montez Sweat said yesterday, he was like, I can't believe that this kid is this good this early. Like, he looks like a 3rd or 4th-year vet. You know, defenders don't like giving quarterbacks nothing. So to me, that's what stood out. It's 180 from how I felt this time at camp last year. And I won't say he's a rookie. He's gonna mess up. He's gonna have games where it's looking like, what was he doing? But I think the highs are gonna be way more consistent than the lows.
But we already saw that in the game when, like, the first 3 drives, it was stalling, like the Bengals were
Yeah.
having success, and then all of a sudden he looks like Caleb Williams did at the highs of USC. Like, this game was like a weird experiment for me, because you look on Twitter and everyone in like the national sense is praising Caleb because he's doing ridiculous things that make a quarterback get drafted first overall. But Bengals fans still have this weird insecurity whenever there's a quarterback playing the team, whenever he does like crazy things with like his arm strength or off-platform throws like a Patrick Mahomes or a Josh Allen. And there's a weird insecurity when quarterbacks do things that Joe Burrow doesn't always do or doesn't maybe do as frequently, or maybe it isn't his strengths. And for Caleb, like it's okay to root for the guy and to proclaim him as a guy with crazy talent, even if he's not fully there in terms of consistency. Bengals fans need to get over that, because I saw way too many people, degrading Caleb for the first couple drives there.
Yeah, John,
Yeah,
if I
but-
could follow up, John, real quick. I had a weird experience watching Russell Wilson play because, I've always disliked the Steelers so much. And for a moment, I lost myself and was rooting for the Steelers, and it broke my heart. I hated myself.
I want to just say to John's point, that's an excellent point about Bengals fans. It's like, maybe someone marries like a professor, right? Very brilliant, whatever. And then it's like, okay, I know brilliant, whatever. But then the fans, let's say, of the professor, when they see the beautiful, let's say, trophy wife come in, they're always going to feel insecure, no matter how brilliant that they know they are. And we have, let's say, Joe Burrow is like a professor at quarterback. He doesn't blow you away the way that Caleb was. But I want to just say something. I want to ask Scott and John. You're talking about these joint practices, not exactly sure why they're just practicing the joints, but the Bengals lost a few ligaments in those practices.
Yeah.
Right, John?
Yeah, a couple guys went down.
Tendons.
Yeah.
Tendons. There you go.
Yeah.
So even though they were just practicing the joints, and what that tells you, Scott, is a lot of people are saying this on Twitter. It was a setup for the Bengals with the wet, sleek, field, trying to get those ligaments
Hot and wet.
And
Well,
this is why they had the advantage. I'm just reporting the news.
Yeah, I know how fans on Twitter get. Bears fans, you made the comparison about just a second ago. Bears fans are like that dude against a real fine woman, but then he's real insecure. Like, well, I shot out my range. Like, nah, dude. Like, just give yourself some credit. Like, that's what Bears fans are acting like that. They're acting like the dude who don't deserve to find woman. But and I said the same thing at first about like the slippery weather, but then Flus and Zach Taylor both said that they both agree. Like, everybody agreed that they wanted to play. It wasn't a thing where the Bears were like, "Oh, we playing on this rain." The Bengals then. I heard that the coaches actually wanted to play inside the Walter Payton Center, but the players were like, "Nah, we don't want to. We don't." For some players, hate playing on turf. So I think that was the main reason.
I see.
For them to continue to go through it. As media member, I'd have preferred they'd been in Walter Payton Center because it took about 3 hours for for my clothes to get back to normal. Like, and then the worst part was stepping back in the Hallis Hall and they got the air conditioning on blast, and you didn't been in the rain for 2.5 hours.
It causes pneumonia.
Yeah, exactly.
But
Well,
I'm looking
yeah.
at the Bengals here after the practice that Dadio you're referring to with the torn ligaments and whatnot. I'm seeing a Bengals that has Joe Burrow wearing a glove. I'm seeing a Bengals that has Jake Browning with a bruised or possibly broken rib.
Yes.
I'm seeing a Bengals with a Logan Woodside who throws, it seemed like more interceptions than
He was really
completions.
bad. He was really
I'm seeing a Bengals that doesn't have the O-line that we thought we would have because of the injuries. I'm seeing a Bengals, again, who's lost key figures on the defense. So am I seeing a Bengals that's even going to make the playoffs?
Yeah, with Rocky Lombardi at quarterback, of course.
I don't
Look,
know about that.
Scott, I want to ask you something. Again, one of those things they're saying on Twitter. They say, look, Caleb, he looks good, but he's not tough enough. He can't survive the NFL. And this is, I feel embarrassed asking you this, but they say it's because of the nails. They say someone who worries that much about the nails, they're not going to be willing to get the nails cracked and damaged and all that kind of stuff.
Well, I think a lot of the narratives on Caleb coming out of USC were like crazy, and the good thing about living in LA, been following Caleb the last 2 years. So it's like
Yeah.
a lot of people don't know. A lot of people out of LA don't know USC is LA's pro team. Like, it's not the Rams, it's not the Chargers, it's the Trojans. And he faced a lot of scrutiny last year. You know, the crying to your mom's thing, the nails, and he addressed some of that on the Pardon My Take interview that came out this morning, which I thought was pretty good. But I think Caleb, he's the Gen Z, first Gen Z quarterback superstar, first NIL quarterback superstar. So a lot of stuff he does may be weird to millennials and and other generation. Like,
We're boomers, Scott. Dadio and I are boomers.
Y'all, bro, I'm say mid. I was born in '88, so I'm mid millennial, I guess. So there's a lot of stuff that Caleb does I wouldn't do, but I also wasn't born in 2001. So,
Right.
Exactly.
So I get that there's a gap, but one thing I will say about Caleb, he 100% does not care.
Yeah.
And just the way he's won some of the fans over, because this was a very pro Justin City. Bears Twitter was some of the most toxic stuff I've ever seen, from January to actually the minute that Caleb got drafted. I had more conversations than I can count over who should we pick, and I was trying to tell fans from the last game, the writing's on the wall. Justin would have had to been borderline perfect for them not to get Caleb. And then there was, Caleb doesn't want to play for the Bears, and his dad's going to be too involved. And it was just so many different things, and all of them got knocked down one by one. So I think that as long as he plays well, not Chicago, if he plays bad, they'll let him know. Like, he does his thing now where after every interview, he'd be like, the Bears. I'm like, we'll see if he's saying that mid-October, coming off a loss to, like, I don't know, the Niners or something like that. Like,
Bengals, maybe.
Whoever they lose to, he throws a couple picks. We'll see if he still has that energy there. But so far, he's passed every test to me.
I appreciate it. I mean, I know you said we're much older, but I get the value of, hygiene now. I've, for the first time trimmed the nostrils, the hair, nose hair. And it is, I understand where Caleb is coming from. He wants to be nice and clean. But Scott, I want to transition from the Bears game. Oh, actually, one last thing.
Yeah.
We're talking about Caleb. We talked about the Bengals. How do you see the situation being different? Joe Burrow, when he came, he just had T. Higgins. He had no offensive line. Really rough rookie year. What is the difference with these two number one draft picks? By the way, Burrow also, Gen Z, he doesn't, he has the jacket without the back, and waxes his body, and he
the early Eminem haircut.
Yeah.
I think that I think this offensive line is better than the offensive line the Bengals had Joe's rookie year, where he tore his ACL. But I think there's still question marks on this offensive line. I got to see them healthy for a full year. Tevin Jenkins, he's only out of 55 starts. I think he's only played like 28. Something like that. Nate Davis has been in and out. He don't even practice sometimes. So there still is questions, but I believe the difference is, I said this on my show maybe like a month ago or whenever Caleb just got drafted. I think this is the best situation for a rookie, not just a rookie quarterback. I think in sports, the last rookie situation I seen that was this good had to be when Magic Johnson got drafted and he got to play with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and all the Showtime Lakers. He got placed right into a championship situation. Now, I'm not saying this is a championship situation, but Magic had a very soft landing spot. Even but when Caleb messes up, it's going to be hard to mess up when you got DJ Moore on this side, Cole Kmet and Gerald Everett on this side. You got Keenan Allen, DJ Moore, Roma Dunze, DeAndre Swift. They got weapons. So it's going to be very, very hard. So I think that he's even in a better position than Joe was, because Jamar Chase was a rookie coming in. Like, if this was any other year, Roma Dunze would be the number one wide receiver. Roma Dunze is about to be the most open he's been probably since Pop Warner, because he's got two maybe possible Hall of Famers by him. So I think it's a much lighter landing spot for Caleb than it was for Joe. But at the same time, I think it's more pressure for Caleb because there's so many things around him.
Yeah, and our expectations are always very low in Cincinnati. Okay, let us transition, because I overheard before the show, you and John were talking about Jamar Chase, because, by the way, Scott, insider, NFL insider, he knows John, another NFL insider. These guys have the connections. Yeah. They know the latest on the Jamar Chase contract situation. Take it away, boys.
Yeah, so there was a Bengals reporter who went on a Cincinnati radio station, and he said that according to who he's talked to, that Jamar's camp reportedly wants somewhere in the range of $160 million in new money over the course of 4 years. So it's a 4-year deal worth about $160 million, just total new money, with about $120 million of that guaranteed. And it's a lot, right? That's $40 million per year in terms of new money for a wide receiver. The biggest contract on the market right now is Justin Jefferson, who got $140 million in new money over 4 years. That's an average of $35 million per year. And that kind of obviously gained a lot of traction on social media. People were kind of shocked by the fact that Chase would want $5 million more per year over his former teammate, who Justin Jefferson has made an All-Pro. He's been more productive. He's been even healthier in some instances. So there's an argument to be made about, does Chase deserve more new money than Justin Jefferson? But all of that aside, the context here is important in terms of what the actual contract will look like if this is true, right? We don't know if 160 over 4 is the actual deal that Chase is pushing for. But if it is, and if it's what the Bengals land on, then Jamar Chase's actual total contract will be roughly $186 million over the course of 6 years, which in terms of average annual value is just under or just above $32 million a year, or just under $32 million per year. Justin Jefferson's total contract, because he has 1 year attached from his rookie contract to his 4-year deal, it is a 5-year, just under $160 million deal. So in terms of average annual value of the total contract, what Jamar Chase is asking for puts him right in line with what Justin Jefferson is making. The fact that Chase wants this deal, again, we don't know if this is true, but if it is true, if he wants a 4-year deal right now, when he has 2 more years left on his rookie contract where he's going to make about $26 million in cash guaranteed over the next 2 years, if he wants $160 million added on to that over the course of 6 years on an average annual value basis, it is pretty much the exact same deal as Justin Jefferson. I say all this to say that if this is what Jamar Chase wants, then the Bengals should run to the podium with this deal, 100%.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
I have never disagreed more with you, John.
Why not?
First of all,
Would you want Justin Jefferson?
I'll tell you what. You're going to hate me. I'm back to the point where I'm wondering if they should have gotten Sewell. I mean, really. Listen, if it's about winning games, spend the money where we need it. If Joe Burrow's going to break his wrist again, there's not going to be a Jamar Chase to throw it to. Use that money to build up that offensive line. I mean, I love
Jamar. We did a pretty good job. We have a pretty.
Well, I think the injuries have. Who's hurt now, John?
They just drafted a tackle, the first-round pick. What do you?
Yeah, but aren't there like 2 people hurt on the offensive line? Wasn't I mistaken?
Yeah. But the guy who is going to be our starter heading into the draft, Trent Brown, who's talented but always injured, he is right now not injured enough to miss time. He could play, John.
I kind of think it's with that. I get what you're saying about the offensive line, and I agree with that. But Jamar Chase is a stud. Like is at worst top 3, top 4 wide receiver in the league. To me, the top 2 is still Jettas is number 1, and then 2, I'm still going my man Devontae. Now, I think we just don't talk about Devontae anymore because he's playing with the random QB carousel in Vegas. But he still had crazy numbers last year. But Jamar Chase is a dog, and I'm with you, John. I'd pay him what he wants. You know what I'm saying? Because you already got that situation with T. Higgins. T. Higgins ain't necessarily happy either. So you can have a great offensive line, but if Joe ain't got nobody to throw to, then you got a problem. And that's why I feel the Bengals just gonna have to not be cheap and give them the money. Like when you set up a situation when you're trying to win, you're in the Super Bowl a couple years ago, didn't beat the Rams, but you got it costs to keep the team together. And that's something where I feel like you got to bite the bullet. You got to pay Jamar, and then you can find a way to still get your offensive lineman. It really just comes down to what they want to do, because I always go with the NFL salary cap is a myth, in my opinion. You can find a way to make that move the way you want to move future money. Look at the Rams. The Rams did that for years. So I think that there's a way around it. But if I'm them, I stop making this so difficult. And the same thing with the Cowboys. Stop making it difficult with CeeDee Lamb. Give him the money, get him in there, because even if you give him the money now and like he still hasn't played. When the last time he been on the field? Like last season, or I don't know if he was at OTAs and stuff like that. But it's been a while to get him back in there. So I would give him his money, and that's how the market is. Justin Jefferson set the market. He's gonna want more, and whoever comes up after him. So let's just say Jamar gets paid before Brandon Ayuk or CeeDee Lamb. They're gonna look at Jamar's contract like, I need more of him. So that's just really how the game is. I think the Bengals. If I was the Bengals GM, I'd give him what he wants.
Let me ask you something though, John. Realistically, we always thought, okay, well, I think John, you were saying that look, they're going to hold on to T and Chase, and then it was okay. It looks like they're not going to hold on to T. T is back in camp. He looks amazing. We know what T's expectations are. They're about 3/4 of what the top receiver would get paid. I mean, they can get T for $10 million less a year than Jamar. And they're both outstanding receivers.
Yeah.
What do you think? Does this...
And they got Jermaine Burton, too. I mean, you got Jermaine Burton, you got T. Higgins. You could build a team with those two.
Let's look at the Bengals and who they are historically. Yes, they paid A.J. Green. But remember, John, they paid him after Demaryius Thomas and Des Bryant and all these other guys when it was $15 million a year for a receiver.
And
now
they should have replaced the quarterback instead of paying him, but that's
different story. I'm getting off topic. But John, what I'm saying is now we have the situation where it's like, oh, you're going to pay him what we were paying quarterbacks 2 years ago or something, 3 years ago. You're going to pay him that much. That's the receiver market.
Yeah.
These are the Bengals. They don't like change. No. What do you think this means for maybe T. Higgins' long-term deal being back on the table?
For starters, the Bengals paid Andy Dalton $16 million a year in 2014.
Yeah.
They then paid AJ Green $15 million a
That's
year
what they
in
said.
2015.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you said.
I said $15 million. I said they paid him $15 million.
But you didn't mention Andy Dalton.
But then you said, why are we going to pay a receiver what we just paid a quarterback?
Wait. Andy Dalton was not getting paid market value for a starting quarterback. You don't remember?
No.
I remember.
How could I remember?
It was still a big deal to pay Andy Dalton that much money
gap,
back then.
Sure. No,
regardless,
no,
I was just saying what you just said.
Andy Dalton isn't worth. Oh gosh, I shouldn't say it. Go ahead, John.
Anyways,
$16 an hour would be good for Andy Dalton. I would go for that.
Plus tips.
But $16 million. Well, tips. Yeah.
I would say that Jamar Chase getting paid $32 million a year, which again would be the actual value of the contract, is worth it. He's more worth that. Wow, I can't even speak. He fits that value more than T. Higgins fits $30 million a year. I think that's very clear.
How much is Joe Burrow getting paid a year? How much is Joe Burrow getting paid a year? 50,
55.
Right?
Yeah.
55. I mean, those are too close. Those two numbers are too close for me.
Yeah.
So one is like half the other.
You have no team without Joe Burrow. There's no Bengals
and
without Joe Burrow.
You can't compete with the Chiefs without Jamar Chase.
You don't think so?
Saying that right now. No.
Yeah, no, you definitely can't.
Scott?
No, even with Jamar Chase, it's gonna be tough to beat 15.
Exactly.
So
Wait,
like,
hold on.
Jamar Chase came in and immediately the Bengals became a contender with the Chiefs.
Fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Overtook the Chiefs.
Okay, can I formally change my mind? Pay the man.
We got him.
John, but I remember the Chiefs AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl. Both of them were very clearly on the offensive line. Jamar Chase made some great plays. T. Higgins made some great plays.
Yeah, now the offensive line's good. Or it's better.
They're bigger.
Maybe not be good.
They're bigger. Yeah. The big, tall guys.
So what's the issue here?
I'm not saying they shouldn't pay Jamar Chase. They should absolutely pay Jamar Chase. I'm approaching it from a Bengals perspective. They love value. I'm saying they have two number one receivers. From the
Bengals perspective, like you like Scott brought up that these teams do these song and dances with these top playmakers when in reality they should just pay them, right? What happens in free agency though? Like the process goes a lot quicker because all the teams have access to these guys, which is why Calvin Ridley can quickly get a monster deal from the Titans that everyone thinks is far too much. If Jamar Chase was on the open market right now, he would get more than whatever
question.
No, but no, you're saying from the team perspective, right? They can afford to do all this because they have time to do this, right? They can utilize whatever leverage they have because they have these guys under contractual control. And from the Bengals perspective, it makes sense for them to wait another year.
Is this
and so will they, John? Will they? That's the question. Not should they, but will they? Will they pay Jamar Chase? Not should they. Will they?
I think Jamar's giving them no choice. Like if not granted, when those fines start hitting, when the season starts, it might be a different conversation. But I think just with the way the market is, the market puts a lot of teams in different positions because John, you made a good point about hitting the free agency. If Dak Prescott hits free agency, he's going to make more than Joe Burrow. Yeah, he's going to make 60, 65 a year. And we all know he's not on the same planet as Joe Burrow. But there's going to be so many QB-hungry teams out there that he's going to get paid. If Jamar Chase is the open market, he's going to get more than 35. Somebody's going to be thirsty.
let me ask John. Okay, John, you're saying they have time. So are you implying that, for instance, after November, maybe the inflation of wide receivers will come down,
gosh.
and potentially the wide receivers will be more affordable next year?
No.
That's not what you're saying. Okay, because I thought we were getting political here, John. Okay,
It's
go ahead.
possible that after Chase, CD, Brandon Ayuk, you might see a soft reset in the receiver
Who's
market.
Brandon
just
Ayuk? How are we talking about him in the same conversation? I just
because he
heard
wants
about
30
him.
million
Because
plus
he
a
wants
year.
a ridiculous contract. Yeah.
How is
Yeah.
he? He's like the third receiver in San Francisco.
He's a third or fourth option on the Niners, but he wants to be paid like he's number one.
He probably wants to just leave.
Yeah. One of
Regardless,
those,
the whole situation with Chase would be resolved if they just get him done now. But I don't think the Bengals expected it to come to this. I think they expected all this to happen next year when they still have him under contract, and that's when he enters his actual contract year. But the fact that Chase is doing all this now, exercising his leverage, it gets everything kind of rolling. And if they can get this done a year early with 4 years of added contractual control, that's a win-win for everyone.
I
Just
agree.
pay the man.
Yeah.
I'd pay him.
Okay. I
Dadio.
would pay him. Okay. Look, last topic. I want to talk about John, the Bengals Colts practice today. They played Anthony Richardson, and they were insulting him. They said,
Yeah,
you know,
I'm reading it
Cam
right
Taylor
now.
said all he does.
All he does is run.
They said all he does is run. Geno Stone said he throws to the spots. He doesn't know how to, see his wide receivers. And they're like, throw the ball. What are you doing? John, we saw this bravado. We didn't see the Bengals, Scott. We didn't see them against the Bears. We saw that guy, John. What's his name? That corner who came in and was getting, torched a little bit by Caleb. That guy.
Josh Newton.
Yeah.
Josh Newton. We saw that. But, John, is the sense we're getting from this Bengals defense, they've been around for a while. They've been together. They have a lot of young guys in the secondary. Dax Hill is looking good. Are they going to have that swagger of the kind of defenses that go and then they back it up and they punch people in the face? Yeah, John, you're smiling. Yeah, go ahead.
No, that was an immediate no from the puppet below me.
Yeah.
Curious about his thoughts.
No, please, John. You start.
I think there is an edge because they got torched a lot last year. They gave up like
Yeah.
69,000 explosive plays through the air, which only
Yes.
Detroit can say that they gave up more. So I think there's a emphasis of being better than they were last year, and I think the communication is better with Stone and Von Bell back there. I think nose tackle and defensive tackle in general is still a major question mark, and teams can probably still run against them pretty easily, and you don't see that very often in these joint practices where there's not a lot of intense tackling in the interior defensive line and in the trenches, if you will. But I think the secondary is improved, and I think a large part of that is just with Dax Hill looking the part, and all that natural athleticism is just translating to that cornerback spot a lot better than I would have given him credit for. So the secondary, I think, is going to be better. I'm still waiting and seeing about the defensive tackle group, though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, John, there's that rookie guy that we got he's eating up the run plays, right? I mean, we are going to be able to counter the loss of DJ Reader, don't you think so? We have the guys that he's on mute. Okay.
No, I mean, again, like the rookie they drafted, McKinley Jackson, he's hurt, and he's
No,
who's
the
gonna
other
play
guy.
nose tackle.
The
I mean,
other
Chris
guy.
Jenkins, yeah, he's
No,
not a natural
no,
nose, though.
the linebacker.
Who's the other guy then?
Use
Linebacker.
words. Use your words, Dadio.
don't
Use
know
the
his name.
names.
I don't know his name, but
You
you
don't
had
know
a video.
Muma Jong Meta?
There you go. Now you see why I couldn't say it. Okay, so that guy, linebacker, making beautiful plays.
Mhm.
So
He's not going
is
to play
that?
the regular season, though.
Dot,
Oh,
dot,
he's not.
dot.
I mean, he's like the
Okay.
fifth linebacker.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you
Fun
shared
story,
a
though.
video about him. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he looks great in preseason.
Okay, last
Okay.
question of the show. Joe Burrow's hand is in a glove. John, do we worry? Yes or no?
I don't know, dude. He's not throwing with the glove on. He told Dan Horde that sometimes when it's windy, he'll put on the glove between drives to keep his hand warm or whatever. And then I guess he was doing
Arthritis?
that in
It's
practice.
arthritis.
No.
No,
You're
because people who
speculating.
have the arthritis, it gets in the cold.
Scott.
Is that what he said?
Do we worry?
I wouldn't worry.
You've had
too
your
much
heart
about
broken.
it. Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would worry as long as everything's right with his knees and his legs. I wouldn't too much worry about it.
I don't think
I
it is,
actually,
Scott.
from an outsider perspective, I think y'all gonna have a good season. I think when
Oh, thank you.
Burrow's healthy, I think the sky limit. Now this is including Jamar Chase playing. I think the sky's the limit. I think that I like Baltimore, But I think Joe Burrow's the best quarterback in the division. I think there's only one quarterback in football to me when healthy I'm putting over Burrow, and that's 15 in Kansas City. So I think if he's healthy, I think you guys are going to have a good season. Even with offensive line troubles, you've been to a Super Bowl with the so-so offensive line, and you should have went to another one because I still think that hit on Mahomes was some BS. I said it wouldn't happen. I hated that. Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't a flag
on this
knows
show.
what to say.
I won't say it's not a flag, but it shouldn't have been called. I even calls it like that affect the end of the game. Like you don't,
Scott,
you don't
you
let
are
that
loved.
happen.
You are loved. Well, first of all, you're loved
Everywhere.
because you're a lovable guy, and we love having you here. Second of all, because you said that. But third of all, because you might not know this, but we share, me, and Dadio, a deep, deep love for the Lakers, especially the Magic Johnson era Lakers. But any era of Lakers is good
Well,
enough for
I
me.
think
I love
think,
the Lakers.
Scott, I just want to say the name of his show, because this is a good segue, because he got the Bengals fans listening, loving him. It is called I'm Not Gon Hol You, but he does not mean that. It doesn't mean that in society. Like he means that on the show, I'm not going to
Emotionally,
restrain
he's
you.
gonna hold
but
you.
he is a very emotionally supportive guy. That's not what the show is about. It's not about him distancing himself from people.
Yeah, the show is like I like to call educated barbershop talk. It's basically, and you can see I got the hoodie on right now. We're going to have the merchandise coming very soon, like within the next 10 days. So look out for that. The Barbershop Network shop be over. But yeah, it's basically, I'm not going to hold you. It's like basically if you're in a conversation with somebody, you want to keep real about something like I ain't going to hold you. I think the Bengals will have a better year than the Chiefs, like something like that. See, that's really what the show is about. And we're getting ready for another season. We've been doing off-season shows just once a week, but starting September 9th, we back twice a week.
There we go.
We got we got correspondence this year. It's gonna be fun. We taking everything we did last year and take it to another level. We're gonna be wilding, and the whole staff, whole crew has been good, man. So shout out my whole crew. My man's JR Bang, the homegirl Courtney, my man Mikey, he's our gambling expert. My guy Dante, and we coming with him. We got the Chicago Bears preview special dropping very, very soon. We're actually gonna play the trailer on the show on Friday, and then we're gonna drop the trailer everywhere on Monday. So that'll be on the Patreon first, and then it'll be on all regular feeds leading up to week 1. So it's gonna be a fun year. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So let me. Yeah, exactly.
And our fans,
Well. No, go ahead. Well, I was just going to say, it's a network. I just want to emphasize it's a network. So you have multiple shows.
Yeah. Barbershop Network,
And you had, last time we had on the show, I think it was 2-3 years ago, you had 1 billion or so followers on the network. This year, who knows? So, but if there is any percentage of the population with access to the internet that is not watching the show, which I doubt.
How could that be?
Well, I just want them to know about the show. But I want to say this: the Believe, we are on the Believe network. I don't think they ever listen to the show, so I don't.
They
think
stop. By the way, the Believe people stopped sending me black T-shirts.
Right.
I don't know what does that mean. Have I hurt you?
Well, all I want to say is, Scott, if you have room on your network, and again, the Believe people, I doubt they're ever going to hear
They
this.
won't know that we're saying this. We could be on 2 networks. They wouldn't know. They stopped sending us T-shirts. They don't know what's going on.
That is, Scott, just always remember us on your network if you need.
And hey, comment in the comments, people. Do you really think that Jamar is fair to be asking about this much money right now? And thumbs up the video and subscribe.
Yes, and follow
Scott. John Sheeran and Scott.
Yes.
But John Sheeran, he writes for A to Z. What is it?
A2ZSports.com/Cincinnati. I write too, but don't worry about it. You don't want to read that stuff. All right, that's all we have. We will see you next time. Thank you so much, Scott. So long. Sweetie. Bye. Just going to let the music fade out a little bit more.